Okay, let's start with the easy ones that we can fill in. Since we know all three sides, let's plug them in. NM is 104, MP is 62, and PN is 121. The first thing we should do after that is law of cosines. It's going to have to be law of cosines. I made it the hardest problems possible. So, law of cosines. C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. It'll be on the board, don't worry. We can choose any angle that we want, but I chose 121 NP. The reason behind that, I want to pick the biggest one so I don't have to worry about angles side side coming back to haunt me. So NP was 121, so A and B are the other two. So we got 121 squared plus 104 squared plus 62 squared minus 2 times 104 times 62 cosine big C. Now we try to clean up some numbers. We figure out what 121 squared is. We find out what 104 squared is. We find out what 62 squared is. And we figured out what 2 times 104 times 62 is. And we write it all down in the equation. So then we take all the numbers not attached to cosine of C and move it to the other side. So we subtract 10,816 and we subtract 3,844. It leaves us with negative 19 on one side, and on the other side, it leaves us with negative 12,896 cosine C on the other. Now we divide both sides by negative 12,896. Since there were two negatives, I just canceled them both out. To get rid of the cosine, we take the cosine inverse of both sides. That gives us 89.9. I'm missing a slide here. It's supposed to say right now 89.9. I rounded up to 90 because it says round to the nearest whole number. But then it has listed sine P over 104 equals sine 90 over 121. I'm going to be using the law of sines here, and I picked sine P because I picked the second biggest number. So 104 is the biggest. That is not 121. And I need the one that I already used. So now I've set up that version of law of sines, so now we can do the rest. We're going to move the 104 to the other side, so sine P will be by itself. To get rid of the sine attached to sine P, we're going to take the sine inverse. So we're going to take the sine inverse of 104 sine 90 over 121. Plug that into a calculator, and we get 59.3. When we round 59.3 to the nearest whole number, we get 59, and we put that in as the measure of angle P. To find the last angle, we're going to take 180 and subtract the other two angles, 90 and 59. That's because 180 degrees is the sum of all three angles of any triangle. This is where I figure out that I did not save all the rest of the slides. 180 minus 90 minus 51 is 31 degrees, and we will put that in as the measurement of angle N. To start problem 2, what I should do is mark down all the numbers that I already know, the 120, the 135, and the 95 degrees. But I was so excited to go in and use law of cosines again, apparently that's where I decided to start. So C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine C. We now plug in all the numbers we know. We know A is 120 squared. We know that B is 135 squared. And we know that the big angle C is 95. All are plugged in. But unlike the above problem where I had to do all the algebraic manipulations so I can get down to solve the final bit, I just get to plug all those numbers into a calculator and get 35,448.8. I take the square root of C squared. That gives me 188.3. And 188.3 rounded, it gives us 188. It is at this point that I noticed while filling out the worksheet that I forgot the easy numbers. So I fill in QX is 120, XY is 135, and the measure of angle X is 95 degrees. So I used law of cosines first. That means I used law of sines second. I picked angle Q because if you look on the other side of it, it's 135. That's the biggest angle. This is the easiest way to avoid the law of sines problem. I move the 135 from the bottom of sine of Q to the other side. To get rid of the sine in front of Q, I'm going to take the sine inverse of both sides. So I have sine inverse of 135 sine 95 over 188. The calculator tells me that it's 45.7. Rounding to the nearest whole number, 45.7 becomes 46, and I put that in for Q. All the angles of a triangle add up to 180 degrees, so I'm going to take 180 minus the 95 and minus the 46. Subtracting all those numbers, I get 39, which means the last value, the measure of angle Y, is 39 degrees. And that's it for this test.